Inbound versus outbound marketing. Should you try and get as many people coming to you as possible, or should you try to reach as many people as possible, try to convince them to work with you? I have my own strong opinions, and Scott and Pedro, which if you don't know who they are, they're the co-founders of our mastermind called Funnel Agency Lab, where we teach funnel agency owners to go from 0 to 10,000 per month. And we do that by coaching them because we're all six-figure funnel agency owners. So with that said, there's a lot of differences between how we run our businesses and how we get our clients. If you haven't already, make sure you like, subscribe, all the good stuff. I'll also leave a link to their channels, to Pedro's and Scott's YouTube channel that have awesome content around funnels as well. So let's talk about first, maybe let's see what Scott has to say about multipliers and reaching more people and get clients that way.
I'm completely on the side of, I do think content is powerful, but I think there's multipliers, and I think you're able to take one thing, and if you can do it well, and then you can stack something else on, obviously that becomes infinitely more, valuable to you. But in terms of outbound, what we've found, most people online are on an uphill battle with content. And so what I mean by that is they haven't established that authority yet. And essentially what they're doing through their content is establishing the authority. I do think that there is a lot to, having the patience and understanding that this is a long play game. Content is a long play game. And I think the misconception is that you post to get clients and then people message you and you get clients. Like, that's just not how it works until you've developed that authority. And so with outbound, and
for most people, can I just add this? Because I saw a post in the private community. Someone said they were like mind blown, and they were like, I just got my first client without even going through like all the content. But you're talking about, like, for most people, when they're getting started, it's not as simple as just making a couple of Facebook posts and then have tons of clients rushing to pay you money.
No, and I think, if you are under that misconception, we need to change that. But at the same time, I'm not saying that there's not going to be that, isolated situation where you post content and you get clients, because it's happened to all of us and it happens to us frequently. But the thing is consistency. Like, I'm looking for a client base that I can predictably, assess each month, rather than like, oh, I got this one client from content. So with outbound, I'm able to say, okay, I've done this amount of outbound. I've sent 1,000 emails, or I've sent 1,000 messages. I had this many replies. I had this many calls, and then I had this many clients. And so if I can replicate that over time, and the only thing that I need to replicate that is more data, that becomes really powerful. The data.
So you can see that one of the things is data. Scott mentioned he wants that data so that he knows how many people we're reaching, how many of those are turning into leads and clients. And while I do the same, it's at a lower scale. And I think it's because I can only have so many clients because I don't have a team yet, which I'm hiring now. And he is more of like the CEO, and he's hiring a team and just trying to reach as many people as possible. So that's why it's like a multiplier. Combine that with data and it's awesome. And here's when he's talking about data and why it's so important.
If you have the data of your target market and you have a process that has worked for you, and the process doesn't need to be crazy. It can be simple emails, positive reply, and then try to book a call. And that's literally all we do. And so now all we have to do is look for, how do we get more relevant data? And then we plug that into our system. And now my pool is infinite. Whereas Facebook, for me, I keep a small following, and I'm not limited to 1,000 or 2,000 people. Now I have millions of people who I can use. And that's why I'm real big on outbound now.
To give more context, you use LinkedIn plus cold email instead of Facebook.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're doing multi-platform outreach. And this is the greatest part about outbound, is that if I figure out a way to structure my messaging in order to reach out to people to generate a positive response, I can now do that on any platform. I can do that on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is.
Another thing which I agree with is that when you learn a skill, communication, you can close people in DMs like I do. You can close people on a sales call, like we all do. And then you can also reach out to more people, no matter what the platform is, which is called multi-channel messaging.
For us, our go-to is to get the data from LinkedIn and then bring it over into email and then send outbound emails and have our conversations mainly in email. And that's kind of our go-to right now. We're not necessarily big on like LinkedIn outreach in terms of I'm not messaging tons of people on LinkedIn. And actually your connection limit is only 20 a day on LinkedIn now. And so you're limited to what you can do. So LinkedIn's owned by Microsoft now. And so obviously it's a big data game. And so Microsoft owns LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which you can pay for each month in order to access more data. Basically, you can get people's email address using simple tools if you have LinkedIn Sales Nav. And so we just go in there, we filter out what we want. And so like, let's say we're focusing on life coaches. Yeah. I can go into Sales Navigator and type in life coach, and then I can sort it and I can say, okay, I only want life coaches in the United States. And I only want life coaches who have a business between 1 and 10 employees. I only want life coaches who do between 100 and 500,000 a year. And so I can really pinpoint my audience, and then I can pull out their email addresses of like 1,000 to 2,500 people at a time. And now I have these email addresses of these people, and now I take that and I can email them directly.
So yeah, that's pretty much why Scott loves Outbound. I agree. I think it's a great way to reach more people. That being said, for someone like me who don't have a team and I have more clients that I can handle just from inbound, there's no reason for me to start doing outreach and paying for the outreach softwares. We can see there's a lot of these where you pay and you can easily find information and send out a custom cold email to these business owners. Scott mentioned a great way to do this is to scrape the information and get as many emails as possible and then put them into softwares. I don't know exactly which software he's using, but these are just a couple of examples of softwares where you can reach more people through cold email. And again, one of the softwares that I know a lot of people use, or platforms should I say, is LinkedIn Sales Navigator, because you can target people, you can sort of bucket people into their niche, their title, and I believe even like income earnings.
The messaging in our email is really simple. We use micro offers. So if I'm selling an entire sales funnel, so design, copy, automations, integrations, I'm not going to say, hey, do you want us to build this whole sales funnel for you? I'm going to say, hey, would you like us to help you increase your conversion rates by 1 or 2%? If so, shoot me a message back and we'll chat more. And so once we get that positive reply, now we just try to book a call with them, and then we sell over the phone just like we normally would if we were doing, content or whatever it is. And so that's how we use LinkedIn to supplement our cold email. We're not necessarily doing all of our outsourcing or all of our prospecting on LinkedIn.
He's not per se selling funnels. He's not per se talking to prospects when he's doing outbound reach. The initial conversation is not, hey, do you need a funnel? Which I think is smart. Scott is talking about when you're reaching out to people, it's important that you talk about the outcome. We can get you more appointments. We can get you more course sales. We can get you more bookings. We can get you selling more event tickets. The outcome itself, and then you can present how you're doing that, and then you sell the system that delivers all of those variables, and you set it up all for them, which is the high value thing to do, where people actually pay you and pay you a lot for your services. So that is the vehicle that we give them, but not necessarily always, depending on who you're talking to, the keyword that you lead with, if that makes sense. So far, all of that makes sense, right? Like, you want to reach more people, you can start messaging people more. Here's why I don't do it personally, okay? I already mentioned I can't really take on any more clients than I have, so I'm getting enough from inbound from the content that I put out there. But another big thing is like, I'm not a good closer, if you will. Like, I'm not a high ticket closer. I want to work with people who wants to work with me. And so if I go out to people who don't know who I am, they've never seen or heard my name, then I'm going to have to talk to them and figure out what is it that you need, and then tell them why they need a sales funnel, versus if it's inbound and I put out content about funnels. Here's a funnel that I built. Here's another client project that we're working on. Here's a conversion test, split testing project that we had. Here's some mistakes that people are doing with their funnels, and I just educate them, put out all this content, which I can do, by the way. I can do at 2 a.m. I can do at 6 a.m. I can do while my kids are sleeping. I can do it on the toilet. I can put out content without having to prepare for a meeting or put it in my calendar, and I can get people to come to me, and then I just close them in DMs with my DM closing scripts. And that's what a lot of people are doing inside Full-Time Funnel Designer and Funnel Agency Lab. So am I saying that one is better than the other? No. But also for me, I just like to get people coming to me who say, look, I've seen your content, I've seen your funnels. Can I check out your portfolio, your full portfolio? And also, what do you charge? Then from there, it's super easy. Like, you're already looking for one. I don't have to convince you. I just have to be like, hey, here's what we do, here's what we charge. And you want to move forward. You know, if you close 1 or 2 clients that way, you have a 6-figure business. And that's what I have. I've been having that for years. So inbound versus outbound and sales calls. Which one do you think have a higher percentage closed? Pedro is talking about this and how he's actually closing more deals with less calls.
I think that both methods are perfectly logical and they work, but they work under different frameworks, right? So different frameworks, they work with different type of personalities and people and goals, right?
Yeah.
So there's 2 main differences in what I believe from inbound and outbound. Inbound is something that takes longer to build, but the effort is going to be lower because you are building a warmer audience, which means that you are going to intake less calls, but closing on a higher closing rate, right? Now, in terms of outbound, you are shooting for either mass emails or more target email. Either way, those are 2 completely cold audiences, right? I do like both, but what I found that for me worked best was, because I did try both for an extensive period of time, what worked best was really inbound. And the main reason why is because it was easier for me to express my opinion. It was easier for me to help the community. Like you mentioned before, like there are specific groups where people are interested in a topic, right? So if I know something about that topic and I can help the community, I can literally go to that community and just create those connections. The interest is going to accumulate. Like they are going to feel like, I'm building this project. You look like someone that actually knows what he's talking about.
Another thing that Pedro talks about as well is the ability to find these people super quickly in Facebook groups, because it's so targeted. It's like, here's a group about course creators, here's a group about coaches, here's a group about software owners, and you just go into these communities, which, by the way, you can find groups on LinkedIn as well. But if you look at the Clickfunnels group on Facebook, there's like 300,000 people there. You look at another group, there's 30,000, 20,000. And you look at platforms like Kajabi, Teachable, Thinkific, they have Facebook groups with course creators, info space, education businesses. They all need funnels. So it's super easy. You go there, you don't pay for any software to do outreach. I just think it's an easier way to get started. And then when you want to scale is when you maybe add that outbound, and you can hire a team member who do that. We call them appointment setter, and you can even hire a closer to take the sales calls and just scale it up with numbers. And now you do what Scott was talking about, which is collect data, see which step is working and what's not working, and you can reach more people. Yes, you can definitely reach more people.
I mean, I'm not really great at doing conversation, like building rapport. This is something that I really struggled when I was trying to learn sales, because building rapport, every time that I reached the topic, you need to build rapport, I was like, dude, I'm going to fail like miserably, because I'm not great at building rapport. So what I found was, I'm just going to help the people the best way I can. They are going to find out like, okay, this all makes sense. And then the opportunity rises. I don't need to build rapport, right? Because it was built on itself. I just need to say, hey, let's chat over a call, and 10, 15, 20 minutes and I close the deal. So that's why I resonated more with inbound.
So on this point, I really agree with Pedro, because I think if you create a lot of content, which, by the way, this is not Pedro versus Scott or me versus Scott, it's just like Scott mentioned, he's doing both. So it's not like, hey, it's this person versus this one. I'm just talking about inbound versus outbound if you're doing one of them. But obviously the best thing long-term is to do both. If you're doing inbound, you can have a lot of the content do the selling for you, and the sales call can literally be 10 minutes. I've had calls, so I closed 95% of my clients in DMs, just Messenger, talking to them and sending the invoice, and thousands of dollars, and they pay it. So the times that I do have a call, it can be 10 minutes answering a few questions, but it's never pushy. It's never like a script that I follow. It's a framework, yes. Psychology matters. but it's not a script where it's like, okay, where do you want to be in 90 days from now? Okay, what if you don't pay me? How are you gonna get there? Are you stupid? Like it's not these weird sales scripts from the 90s. I'm gonna try an experiment and do more of now is cold outreach on Facebook with funnel audits, or like basically doing like 3-minute Loom videos. So I'm still sticking to Facebook. I'm allergic to LinkedIn. My doctor says don't go to LinkedIn. So I'm just gonna go to like Facebook groups on Facebook and specifically for course creators. And I just checked today. I made a YouTube video, and it was like 60,000 people, 30,000 people, 40,000 people. So I can still get out to a lot of people, not maybe 500 per day, but I can get out to more people. So now I'm combining content with outreach, still on just one platform, and then doing less things better. And then the biggest change will be that I'm hiring a copywriter and a graphic designer, and then I'm closing people. I told Pedro this earlier as well. I'm gonna actually start doing sales calls.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I just closed a client today on a Zoom call, and it was amazing. But that's my strategy. So I don't say one thing is working and the other one isn't. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's less about like I think when you think about online business, I think there's been a very interesting phenomenon that's happened over the last couple of years, and specifically since COVID. I don't know if I can say that in these videos anymore, but but a lot of people are attaching themselves to the concept that like this one route or this one tactic is the way to do everything, when really like everything that we just said, like we all do a version of pretty much everything that we just explained.
To wrap this up, what are we focused on in the next 90 days? I just told you already, I'm going to try to get to 30K per month with a lean team, and I'm going to be the CEO, focus on a lot of conversations. What's your plan moving forward?
My plan is just to build a better structured content creation kind of thing. I'm going to really lean into the vertical kind of content, the Facebook stories, the TikTok kind of
short videos
as well. Short videos, like 15 seconds kind of thing. And then on Facebook, I'm actually going to utilize the Facebook content in terms of stories to do 2 to 5 minute videos on where I'm just expressing without a script, So I'm not going to share a script, talking about one topic, and that's going to be the main focus on it. Also more focused on the funnel agency. It's just building case studies. Right now, for the next 6 months, I'm really focused on getting 4 to 5, 6 really good case studies in the niches that I'm really focusing on. That is going to prepare the way for what Scott was saying, that to do a very, very effective outbound, which in case if I want to do that, that's personally reasonable. I have materials to do so.
We're leaning into short content as well. We're doing one pillar YouTube video, one podcast episode, and then everything else is going to be short form content in terms of our content side of things. We're going to just hammer it hard on any platform we can repurpose on. So right now, basically the same content can go to YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok, and then honestly to LinkedIn and Facebook too. And it takes you no longer besides that 5 minutes that it takes to post all the platforms. And so content wise, that's where we're going. We have a new offer that's basically brand new that, we've gotten to about 6K MRR in the last couple of weeks. And now that's just, we're trying to, 10 to 15K MRR was the goal after 2 months. I think we'll be there a little bit quicker than 2 months, but it's exciting because once again, the scalability is there if all these other avenues are set up. So that's kind of our focus right now.
Okay, so in conclusion, which one should you focus on? If you're a freelancer, funnel agency, no matter what business you have, which one should you focus on first? I think you pick one platform. So instead of going Facebook, LinkedIn, and cold email, you pick Facebook, you set up your profile, okay? So it's branded to exactly who you are, what you're all about, how you help people, and how they can reach out to you, okay? So you have your offer, your pricing, and your profile. Then you go to the right communities, you add those as friends, you can get to 5,000 friends. So what I love is you don't have to wait for people to message you. You can also start messaging people on Facebook. So when they go to your profile, check out who's this person, they see your content and your profile and your link to your stuff and your testimonials and everything that you have that you can put a link in your or bio from. So like that is how I recommend that you do it. Stick to one platform. And then when you have more results, you have more team members, you have more time to start doing outreach or hire someone to do it for you, that's when you can really multiply it. But for an example, again, depends on the business. Would I, as a fitness coach, do email outbound? Maybe not. I would do cold messaging to reach more people with a freebie, something that's super valuable, something that people would actually be happy that they hear from me because it's a value. So what I could do is I could send out free funnel templates or like conversion checklist or funnel tutorial. I could send out an audit and say, hey, this is what I see with your funnel right now and why I think it's not the best that it can be. And so I recommend you fix these 2 things and let me know the results after, because I'm confident that it's going to improve your conversions. That's a good way to reach out to people and not like, hey, what do you do? Okay, so how's that working for you? Yeah, nice. You want to jump on a call? It's just like templatized scripts, which it works at mass scale. I'm more of a conscious creator where I want that personal connection and it has to be authentic. Otherwise, I can't even sleep. I can't wake up and just force myself to message the same script to people. I can't. But I can if I'm serving people and I'm helping them and I give something of value first, and then I can start a conversation from there. And so yeah, that's the video. Most important thing is that you know how to deliver results for your people, because then you can confidently reach out to people, you can create content, because you know you have a system that you follow to deliver results. You know how to build funnels. You know how to do what it is that you're doing, and you have a community to ask for help, and you feel like you're protected and supported by people so that you can just scale the actions and create habits of success, because success is not an event. Wealth is not an event. Becoming rich and successful, it doesn't just happen just like that. It is habits that are consistently compounding results for you and your business. So that's it. Make sure you like, subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.